Hi, everyone. We are doing the Business Plan Basics webinar this afternoon. So my name is Amanda Parkinson. I'm a business advisor with WESK, and we also have Danielle Grimes presenting as well. And she's also a business advisor. So we're going to just hop right into the presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A function and we'll address them at the end. We're also going to be doing some polls throughout, so definitely participate in those if you can. And then we're also going to be putting some helpful links in the chat function that we kind of go through in the presentation. So we have a lot of content to cover, so let's get started here. All right. So this is going to be our agenda. We're going to be going over an introduction of WESK and entrepreneurship, and then move into the business plan content. This section will take a deeper dive into some of the more challenging components, and we'll conclude with financing options and address any questions. There are some additional resources provided to you for this webinar. You should have received the marketing plan worksheet and the business plan worksheet prior. So these will summarize all the content we cover, and there'll be a quick reference guide to help you when you want to start on that full business plan. So sometimes we suggest that it's nice to look at those as we go through these through this webinar, and then you can populate the worksheets with any ideas you have as we cover the different sections. So WESK is a nonprofit organization that started in 1995 with 6 members. We now have over 1,000 members. Our offices are located in Saskatoon and Regina, and we serve all of Saskatchewan. WESK is funded federally by the Western Economic Diversification Canada. We focus on 4 pillars of service. With a WESK membership, you can access free business advising to assist you in creating a business plan and get feedback and support as you start or grow your business. WESK also provides loans for up to $150,000 to new or existing businesses, which are majority owned and controlled by a woman. We focus on networking and providing relevant resources and training to entrepreneurs. We have an awesome resource library where you can search for templates, worksheets, webinars, reports, and blogs to help you get started to grow or scale. We also provide weekly webinars and a variety of networking opportunities. Check out the events page on our website to find details for any upcoming events. And we provide advocacy on behalf of women entrepreneurs. Women-owned businesses play a vital role in job creation and economic growth in Saskatchewan. We aim to close the gender entrepreneurship gap by working to promote women-owned businesses, increase the number of female entrepreneurs, and create conditions for them to succeed. We are proud to have made a significant impact in Saskatchewan. We've distributed over $38 million to women entrepreneurs in the province, which has helped to create over 1,600 jobs. WESK has been in the business for over 25 years, and we've evolved with this Saskatchewan economy to meet the needs of women entrepreneurs. We are collaborative, diverse, and bold, and these values shape the future of our organization to continually empower women. So what is entrepreneurship? It's the capacity and willingness to develop, organize, and manage a business venture along with any of its risks in order to make a profit. So there's a few things to consider here. The 2 words highlighted, capacity. What skills or knowledge do you have that would be valuable? Do you have the time, money, and resources? And the second word, willingness. Does owning your own business with the potential for some amazing perks motivate you? Will you make time for it and find that hard work satisfying? You need to be passionate, but also strategic. You must have a plan. So what makes a business successful? Having a clear vision is a must. Then you can start your business plan where you will articulate your skills, marketing, and short-term goals. You must be willing to understand what you can do and where you need to delegate to others so that you can remain passionate and focused on your vision.
And so we just have a poll here. We're curious if anyone has started their business plan or if you haven't yet. So if you can just fill out that poll, we can get an idea of where everyone is at. So about half of you haven't started. Some of you have started and it's work in progress, and a few of you are actually done. So that's great. Hopefully there's something here for everyone, regardless of where you're at. And again, if you have any questions, please pop them into the Q&A. So before we get into the business plan contents, we just wanted to briefly touch on the benefits of having a business plan, and there are quite a few. So first, the planning process lets you research and make decisions with minimal risk. You haven't yet committed to making large purchases or expanding your business, so it gives you a chance to explore your options first. And I should note when I say expanding your business, so developing a business plan is relevant for anyone, whether you've already started your business or not. If you already have a business, then you might be developing a business plan for the purposes of expanding. Along the business planning journey, you'll set goals and milestones and determine outcomes. And so this provides you with some focus and clarity and gives you a bit of a roadmap to follow. And the business plan is dynamic. So your business is going to change over time, and so will your business plan. So you might adjust your services or product offerings to meet consumer demand, and your long-term goals may also change dramatically, and that's okay. Your business plan is not intended to be set in stone. However, you will also be inundated with advice and people telling you about different opportunities to expand your services and products, for example. So a business plan gives you more confidence to say either that's a great idea, but that doesn't fit into my plans right now, maybe in the future, or that's actually a really good idea and that fits into my strategy. And finally, the business plan is required for financing or grants typically. So if that's something that you're planning on applying for, then you would need a business plan. So now that we're moving into the next section, we will look at the business plan in greater detail. So we're going to focus on the 4 pillars of business, which is marketing, operations, HR, and financials. So before we get into that, fundamentally, a business plan answers these questions. So what does your business do? As the owner, what are your skills, knowledge, and expertise? And this is important to include in your business plan because the owner is the most important part of the business. And so we want to know about you. It identifies your customers, and your customer is not everyone. And we'll discuss more about that further on. It identifies the facility that you'll need and where your business is located. And the financial plan covers the numbers of the business. And without the numbers, it's kind of like you're driving in the dark without any headlights. You can't see where you're going, and the financial plan sheds light on your business and provides you with necessary financial information. So these are the typical sections of the business plan. So on the left-hand column, you can see the key sections, and on the right-hand side, you can see kind of a description of that content. And I'll draw your attention to the cover page, table of contents, and executive summary. So these are important components to include in your plan. We won't focus on these sections today, but in particular, the executive summary is the first thing that most people are going to read when they're looking at your business plan. So spend some time at the end, once the rest of your sections are completed, to do a good summary of your business plan in the executive summary. It's kind of the first impression of your business plan. And now I'll hand it over to Amanda, who's going to talk about the marketing section.
Thanks, Danielle. So with marketing, you'll have to create a marketing strategy. So that describes the who, why, and how. This is where you are going to describe your market, customers, and competitors. And it also outlines the methods you will use to reach your customers. So you're going to want to start with market analysis, and this is where you do the research. So this is kind of the fun part. As you learn more about the industry and market you're working in, you can determine who your competitors are, and then you'll understand how you're different from the competition, and you can specify who you want your customers to be. So for industry research, you'll want to look at trends, growth, and success factors. This slide shows the NAICS code for the independent artists, writers, and performers. NAICS stands for the North American Industry Classification System. You can find the NAICS online at the Government of Canada site. However, sometimes this site is a little tricky to navigate. So if you just try Googling your business industry with the term NAICS, you should be able to find the code easier. It is important to know the NAICS code when doing research, and it might also be needed for contracting or registration purposes. So for industry research, you'll want to estimate the performance of your business against the industry average. You can do this by secondary research, so information that has already been collected by other sources. So a really great resource for this is Square One, and we're going to add the link to the chat for their website. So they can send you a variety of reports based on specific location, a list of competitors with their revenue and expenses. They have a bunch of census reports, so really great stuff to get started. And then you could also try doing primary research. So this is conducting your own research from direct sources. This is where you could observe your competition, reach out to similar businesses in different jurisdictions, and interview potential or current customers. The research is very critical for your business to be successful and grow. This is a necessary part of the business plan, and many lenders will require that you've done your research to understand your market and industry. Next, you'll want to conduct a pestle analysis. So look at the key factors: political, economic, social, technology, legal, and environmental factors influencing your business from the outside. So this offers insights into the external factors impacting your business. COVID is actually a really great example of this because many of these pillars have changed due to the pandemic, and businesses need to be aware of those ever-changing requirements. So competitors. So there's different types of competition. So you could have direct competition, a similar business offering similar products and services, or you could have indirect competition, which is a business competing for the same customer, but they might have different products or services. So understanding these competitions and how you kind of fit into that landscape is also very important. Don't discount competitors just because they're a little bit different. For example, a candle business and an essential oils business at a trade show. Though they're selling different products, they're actually competing for the same customer, those that are looking for some nice scents for their home. So now that you've identified your competitors, you'll want to do a competitive analysis and compare them to yourself. So this will help you to understand what really sets you apart from others in the same space. I recommend using a chart like this and do a side-by-side comparison. And then you can see all of the strengths and weaknesses that drive your competitors and how you compare to them. So some other examples you might want to consider would be, what are their products like? What is their branding like? Do they have a good website? What about their social media presence? So really just, listing your business and then your competitors, and just doing this chart will be a super helpful activity. And then, of course, doing the SWOT kind of puts all of this together. So you can do this on a regular basis, actually, to help with your strategic direction as your business starts to grow. Just because things in the industry do change, so you want to always be aware of those opportunities and threats. So customers. So like Danielle said, not everyone is your customer, and that's very important. You need to clearly define your specific customer and get to know them well. Who are they? Why do they buy from you? Do any other socioeconomic factors play a role? To understand your customers better, make some customer profiles by defining as much information as you can about them. So look at where they live, their personal attributes, lifestyle choices, and behaviors. This is an important activity to focus on, and it will help you understand which specific customers to target with your advertising and how to communicate to them effectively. And it's also kind of a fun activity to do. You actually really get to think about your ideal customer and then seek them out and communicate with them and make sure they're a happy customer that wants to continue to support your business. So I'm going to pass it over to Danielle, and she's going to talk about branding.
Thanks, Amanda. So branding is a really important component of your marketing plan. And in terms of defining what brand actually means, it can be tough to define as it has evolved from kind of the standard definition of a person's perspective of a product, service, or experience. But often successful and well-known brands are used to understand and define what it means. So if you think of Nike or Apple or Coca-Cola, what do you think when you hear these brands, and what images do they evoke? So that gives you a sense of what brand actually means. And a well-defined and executed brand strategy affects all aspects of your business, and it's directly connected to consumer needs, emotions, and competitive environments. So it's not just your logo or your product or your name or your website. It's more than that. It's more than the sum of its parts. And it's tied to your industry, competitors, and customers that we talked about earlier. So here are some key aspects of your branding strategy. So first being the purpose. So brand defines your purpose and your promise. It's more than profitability. It's your why. It's your reason for existing. So check out brands that you like and study their vision and mission. See what they promise. What do you promise? So really consider that. Consistency ensures that your messaging works seamlessly throughout your marketing, from your social to your website to your packaging. And there are tools that you can use to be consistent, such as style guides and communication and social media plans. There's also an emotional aspect to branding. So think about relationships and community. For example, Jeep has Jeep communities where like-minded people seek adventure and freedom. So there's actually a Jeep Saskatchewan Facebook page. And be flexible. So sometimes you do need to rebrand. And as an example, WESK rebranded about 5 years ago to make sure that we're staying relevant and fresh, as we were founded, I think, in the 90s. So it's a way to continue to distinguish yourself from your competitors. Also recognize and celebrate your loyal brand ambassadors. So these are your customers that know and love your brand. So reward them if you can. So it might be as simple as a thank you, or it might be much more than that. So plan for having some loyalty programs. And also, of course, keep tabs on your competitors to make sure that your brand is unique and strong. So I've touched on some of the key aspects of branding, but this could be a whole workshop in and of itself. And WESK does have lots of webinars available on this topic. Just take a look in our resource library. I think we likely posted a link to that. Yeah, I see that was the first link we posted was to our resources. So you can always look through our website and see all of the other information and webinars that we have about this topic. So Amanda already walked us through the marketing strategy section where we talked about industry, competitors, and customers. Now we're going to talk about the marketing mix, also known as the 4 Ps. And this helps you to think about your product or services for the purpose of marketing. So in other words, now we're getting into the how part of your marketing. So the marketing mix refers to broad levels of marketing decisions and the categories that those fall into, including product, price, place, and promotion. And so remember, the focus of the marketing mix is on your customer and not on you as the business. So we'll start with products. In your business plan, you'll identify all of your products or services. You'll describe them and identify the need or problem that your product will solve. And so this is something that, seems pretty obvious that you would include in your business plan, but when you're getting really into your business plan and you know your business so well, it can seem so obvious to you that you might actually forget to thoroughly describe your products or services and the need or problem that they're solving. And that's really important information for the reader of the business plan to know, and for you to have really concise and clear in your own mind. And so how does that link to your brand, and how is it unique? Moving on to pricing. So the price is the cost that consumers pay for the product. And there are many ways to price your products or services. So there's different strategies that you can use, and you'll need to find what works best for your business. And of course, the goal in most cases is to choose a price that will maximize your profits. And so here are 6 pricing strategies, and you can use a combination of these. You don't have to just pick one, and it will involve doing quite a bit of research as well. So the first one being cost plus pricing. And so that's determined by first understanding your cost of goods and then marking up from there. So for example, a jewelry designer would need to calculate the cost of goods sold for each of her jewelry prices. So in other words, how much does it cost her to make one piece of jewelry, and then determine what her markup is going to be from there to determine her final price. And so this helps to make sure that you're actually making a profit. Competitive pricing is based on what your competitors are charging. So the jewelry designer would look at her competitors and research what they charge for their products. Value-based pricing is price set based on what the customer perceives the value and worth to be of your product or service. So you'll need to stay in tune with your customers by creating customer profiles and personas, for example, to really understand who your customer is. And this, of course, ties back to your market research. And so the jewelry designer creating beautiful pieces, so the price can be determined by the value perceived by her customers of the jewelry being valuable. Premium pricing is the price that is a strategy where you set your price high to indicate that it's a luxury or high value product. So the prestige is based on the perceived value of the product. So it's kind of the psychological aspect of pricing. And this is directly correlated to brand awareness and brand perception, and it can often be used in fashion and technology, for example. Hourly pricing is typically used by consultants and freelancers, and it's essentially money for time. And that can tie back to value-based pricing and really recognizing your value, which can be tough to do. Project-based pricing is kind of the opposite of hourly. It's a flat fee charged for the product based on project deliverables. So depending on your business model and your products or services, you'll have to do some more research on the different pricing strategies. And it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. So if you're struggling, know that you're not alone and that it does take some time and some trial and error. Moving on to place. So you'll also need to decide about where you'll sell your product and how you can be as effective as possible. So you could own or lease a space, you could have a home-based business, or you could have an online business, or a combination of those. And so if you're already operating, where is your business currently located, and is it working for you? Do you need to make any changes? So promotion is the communication part of marketing. So what messages will you deliver to customers and how will they find you? It encompasses advertising, public relations, messaging, sales promotions, special offers, etc. And so in the marketing section of the business plan, you've researched and created some customer profiles. So now you want to choose promotional activities that make sense based on those customer profiles and how you can best reach them. So for example, will you use social media, print, TV, or radio advertising? So say if your target market is women aged 20 to 25, then you'll need to think about how can you best reach them. Likely social media. What type of social media are they on the most? And this helps you to really get the most bang for your buck. And so we just have a quick poll here again. We covered market research and strategy. So we're just curious about what research that you have already done, if any, for marketing. And if you haven't done any, that is completely fine as well. We just want to kind of get a sense of that. So you can just fill out that poll. Okay, so a few of you have done some SWOT, competitive analysis, target market research, and then about half haven't done any so far. If you do need more help with your market research, just know that our business plan template has lots of information in there. And so you can also work with business advisors at WESK and reach out to Square One, as Amanda mentioned before. And so we've got a lot of those links posted too. And so I'll pass it over to Amanda.
Awesome, thank you. So now we're going to discuss operations. We're going to go through this section fairly quickly, but there is definitely a lot of detail in our business plan template to get you started on this section too. So for your operations plan, you'll need to consider your location, your equipment and materials, operating procedures, staffing and management structure, growth plans, business structure, regulations and registrations, and the capacity. So it is important to think about a growth plan because you need to know how growth could impact your location, equipment, and staffing needs. So if growth happens quickly and you don't have a plan, it could be very overwhelming and you may miss a huge opportunity. So as mentioned in that previous slide, it is important to plan for growth, and some things to consider are how much can your business grow based on your current way of operating? How much do you want your business to grow? And is there a gap? What actions can you take? So your capacity, growth trajectory, and ability to scale all tie back to your business model and your vision. For example, do you want to reach people by increasing production where you hire a lot of employees or outsource to mass produce, but then you have lower prices so you can reach more people that way? Or do you want to build your brand to create custom work with higher prices? So then you kind of have that loyal customer base with that premium pricing. So there's no right or wrong answer, but it's all about your vision and what you want to achieve. So planning is the key here. That's why the development of a business plan and financial projections are important. And it's easier to do that when your business is small. This is the time to invest in planning and take your time and put in the energy to develop those foundational systems and processes that will allow your business to grow. So for example, finding the best e-commerce software for your needs will ensure that you'll use this tool to be more efficient so you can focus on the parts of the business that will drive growth and less on those day-to-day administrative tasks. So if you put in that time and research and maybe a little bit of extra money to get that proper software at the beginning, you can ensure you're using it properly and that it's going to meet your needs throughout your business instead of just slapping together some inexpensive and inadequate options. You can actually think ahead of what will serve your business best into the future. So have a forward-thinking mindset. Think as the owner of the business 10 times larger than your current reality. Choose solutions that will serve what is now, but what also may come. And of course, we can help, WESK can help with your growth process too. So we have lots of different programs available. We have the Exchange, so that's a great program for women entrepreneurs that are looking to expand and grow their businesses. So you can start off in that startup phase, and we can help you along that whole cycle to get you into that growth and scaling as well. So now we're going to look at the human resources. So in your human resources strategy, you'll need to define who does what and build on that growth strategy as well. So use this opportunity for going through your business plan to understand your business needs and hire as needed at the right time. So you should really plan that all out, understand what your first year might look like in compared to 5 years down the line, and what those staffing requirements might be. And understand that you can't be everywhere. A lot of time entrepreneurs want to do everything. It's their baby and they want to take care of everything, but it is okay to delegate and to take some time out of those tasks that are really using up a lot of your energy. So focus on your core strengths and hire or outsource the rest so that you can, build that scalable business. Concentrating on working on your business instead of in your business. Scalable business owners are experts at leveraging outside resources. So build a staff or team of contractors or freelancers to do what they do best, and then you can concentrate on building your vision as well. So you'll also need to consider professional supports such as bookkeepers, accountants, and lawyers. So as a business advisor, I often recommend that when you're starting a business, you should hire an accountant or a bookkeeper and a lawyer. Those are just some really great foundational supports. There might be a few upfront costs, but in the long run, it could save you a lot of time, money, and energy. So at WESK, we offer our all access expert advice program to members. So this means you can book an hour with an accountant or a lawyer. We also have HR and marketing professionals, and it only costs $30 an hour. So they can really ensure that you're making those informed decisions, especially in those areas that are typically pretty overwhelming for entrepreneurs. And also don't forget that mentoring and networking is also an important part to consider. So you can grow by sharing and connecting with others in similar situations. So don't be afraid to ask others for their advice, or look for mentors in similar industries. Even reach out to different businesses in other jurisdictions to provide some support or give you some advice. So we have another poll here. So we just want to know, what supports does your business need? So have you thought about this? Okay, so it looks like a lot of people understand that they need an accountant or a bookkeeper, a lawyer, definitely up there, and social media or marketing consultants. So that's awesome. WESK can help with all of those in the all access program. We have the accountant, lawyer, and marketing experts. So feel free to check that out. Okay, now I'm going to pass it over to Danielle to talk about financial plans.
Hi. Okay, thanks, Amanda. Sorry about that. I was on mute. So yes, now we're going to move on to the financial plan part of the business. And so that covers how much money you're going to need to start or grow your business, how much of your own money are you going to contribute, how much would you need to borrow, what will you do with those funds, how you pay back your investors or your lenders, and that comes into your cash flow, and how profitable is your business. So it answers a lot of really important points, and the rest of your business plan is contributing to the information that you need to develop your financial plan. So in the cash flow spreadsheet, we do have a template. We're not going to look at it today, but there is a template available on our website, and we posted a link for that. But you'll start by entering your financial decisions and any historical data, if applicable, if you already have a business, into that spreadsheet. So you'll enter your sales projections. So how much do you think you're going to be bringing in each month over the next couple of years? Your projected expenses, and that includes your startup costs if you have to do, for example, leasehold improvements or buy equipment, as well as your monthly expenses like lease expense or marketing or employees. Your startup or expansion costs, as I mentioned, and funding. So in other words, how you're actually going to pay for all of that, how you're going to pay for your startup costs. So once all of that information is inputted, then you would look at the net income to see if the plan is profitable. And most spreadsheets will calculate the break even for you as well, which means, does the business generate enough revenue to actually pay your expenses? And so you may need to do more research to confirm your expenses and your costs and get quotes to really flush things out and make sure that it's accurate. And then you can see, is your business going to be profitable, or is your expansion going to be profitable? And if not, then you have the opportunity to go back and revisit things. And you can always tweak your plan, and that's sort of one of the benefits of doing your business plan and your financial projections, to see what things are going to look like ahead of time. And of course, you don't have a crystal ball, but the more research you do, the more accurate your information is going to be, and you'll have a better idea of how you can plan for your future. And you can also do a couple of different scenarios as well. You can have kind of an optimistic scenario and a conservative scenario as well, just to see what might potentially happen if those different scenarios actually occur. So in addition to your cash flow projections that show the profitability of your startup or your expansion, you're also going to have financial statements when you're actually operating your business. And so Amanda mentioned bookkeepers or accountants as being quite helpful, and they can really help you with this too. So financial statements are produced from the financial information of your business, and there are three types of statements, including income, otherwise known as profit and loss statements, cash flow, and your balance sheet. So we're not going to discuss those statements in detail, but if you're not already familiar, we definitely suggest learning more about that. And WESK can help with our resources or business advising. And like I mentioned, you can also look into hiring a bookkeeper or an accountant to really make sure that you've got the team that you need. And the reason being, they provide valuable information about your business. And so you need to know and understand the financial information in the statements so that you can make sound business decisions with the goal of operating a successful business. And benefits of having good, accurate financial statements include that you can actually track your sales and monitor your sales goals and whether or not you're meeting those targets. You can then plan your sales and marketing activities based on your marketing budget. It helps you to be able to control your inventory. It also gives you some historical data for planning purposes. So for example, if you look at your sales for each December over the last years and project what your sales will be this December, you can plan better. And it can help you to decide, for example, how much inventory you're going to need. And also, if your financial reporting is up to date, if your business has already opened, then you'd be ready to approach a lender or a funder for if that's a need for your business, because they're going to be looking for updated financial statements. So moving on to the risk analysis. So this is kind of one of the final mini sections of your business plan. And so risk is defined as an uncertainty that could render a business inoperable or cause financial insecurity. So the risk analysis in the business plan is meant to show that you've considered the potential risks and that you know how to plan for them and you have a plan to mitigate them. So you'll have risks that are internal to your business, like sales not being what you projected. In the event that sales are lower than you projected, what are your plans to mitigate that risk? Would you revisit your sales and marketing activities? Would you hire a marketing agency? Those are the questions that you're answering in the risk analysis. And there are also risks external to your business. So a good example of that being COVID-19. And so businesses handled and are handling this risk in many different ways, depending on their industry. The other thing is to consider personal risks. So as an owner, and especially if you're an employee working in the business, what would you do if you're injured or if you were ill? Would you hire a manager or employees? And if it were long-term, would you sell the business, for example? So just thinking through those different scenarios that could potentially happen. Okay, and so moving on to next steps, we're going to just talk briefly about financing and answer any questions as well. So again, feel free to pop any questions that you might have into that Q&A box. So the next poll we have is, do you think that you will need financing for your business? Okay, quite a few of you said yes. Some people aren't sure yet. Others say no. So regardless, even if you don't necessarily need funding now, you might down the road. And for those who don't know yet, hopefully the business planning process will help you to get an idea of what sort of funding you might need, if any. So there are a few different sources of financing, including WESK. So we provide loans from $5,000 to $150,000. There's traditional banks and credit unions. There's grants, which is ideal because that's money that you don't have to pay back. There's other entrepreneurial organizations like CEF, Futurepreneur, BDC, for example. There's also angel investors, family and friends, if that's something that you're comfortable doing, as well as you're contributing your own personal equity. So if you do put together a loan application, these are some of the things, the key items that lenders look at to assess that application and make a decision. So the first thing here is credit history. So they're going to check your credit score using either Equifax or TransUnion. And if you're not sure of your own personal credit history, you can also check it yourself just to see where you're at. And with WESK, we don't have a specific credit score cutoff that we look for. It really just depends on the specific scenario. So if you're not sure about your own situation, definitely come and talk to us. Don't rule yourself out before checking into it. Viability. So they're going to look at the business plan and their assessment of the likelihood of success. So how well thought out is your business idea, and what kind of research have you done? What are your sales projections looking like? That sort of thing. Management. So as I mentioned before, you, the owner of the business, is a really important part of the business. And so they're going to be looking at your capacity and experience in whatever industry you're operating in. And security, otherwise known as collateral, is also typically required. So that can be business assets, especially if you are purchasing large pieces of equipment, for example, that can often be used as collateral, or personal assets. For example, if you own a home or a car, then oftentimes those are looked at for security. And equity. So most lenders are requiring usually around 20% of the total amount that you're asking for. So if your total project costs are $100,000, then most lending institutions are looking for a $20,000 contribution from you. But again, every situation can be different, but a heads up that that's typically a requirement. So WESK can help support your business in these different categories, whether you're buying a business or you need materials, startup loan or expansion, working capital, and there's other scenarios as well. So if you're interested in applying for financing with WESK, then you could meet with a business advisor to work on your business plan and prepare the required loan documents. To get a loan with WESK, the business does need to be women-owned and controlled, majority women-owned and controlled by 51% typically, and operate within Saskatchewan. So that's sort of a summary of financing, and we will move over to the next slide here. So we have another, and I'll hand it over to Amanda.
Okay, so we have another poll here. So how do you feel about the information we covered? So we're just about to wrap everything up. So we just want to get a sense of where you're at, or if you feel like you're ready to go and write that business plan, or if you need some more time and resources. Okay, so it looks like the majority is encouraged to take the next steps. So that's awesome. So I hope that some of the resources that we provide will even encourage you more. You can start looking at those and sorting through information. Definitely recommend checking out our website. And we have a lot of different resources available for you to even get you going further in that process. So some of those resources, like we've already touched on these, but just as a summary, is the WESK business plan. So we do have a template available for that. It is really great because it breaks out all the sections and then it asks questions within each section. So you would literally just have to go through those questions and fill in as much information as you can. The WESK cash flow, so we have a template for that. It really is an awesome sheet. It calculates most of the things, so you just fill in the yellow cells and the spreadsheet will do the rest of the calculations. So again, if you need any help or assistance with these, you can definitely look at our membership packages and booking with a business advisor to help out with those. And then we do have our WESK loans for those that are ready to go even further down that process. A lot of you did mention that you would probably require financing. So definitely information on our WESK loans workspace, and meeting with a business advisor can definitely take you down that path and make sure you have all the documents ready to go. So it's a seamless process into that application. And yeah, just check out our website for any other helpful resources. We also have a lot of fun events coming up, so check those out as well. So that's pretty much the information that we wanted to cover. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to put those in the Q&A function. We have about, just under 10 minutes left. So any questions, we're happy to answer them. If not, we can end a few minutes early, I guess. So it looks like we have one question, just wondering if we get a recording. Yes, there will be an email sent out with the recording, as well as all of those links provided, so you have everything in one handy email to get you going. As well, the webinars are posted on our website. Any other questions? Okay, well, it doesn't look like any more coming through. Oh, maybe there's another one. Nope. Okay, I think that's it. So thanks everyone for attending, and Ali, I'll pass it back over to you if you have any closing remarks.
Perfect. Thank you everyone so much for joining. Like Amanda said, this will be posted on our website and you'll get an email tomorrow. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, everyone.